You know, oftentimes when people get to know Life.Church a little bit better, one of the biggest differences that they experience and have questions about is why we're so data-driven. We're continually surrounded by information, and I relate a lot of that to just self-awareness organizationally. We really value self-awareness, both individually and organizationally. And so many times, organizationally, self-awareness can be found in information and outcomes, different things. And you know, it's probably not real common in the church world for that to be the case, but I do find it common in the Scripture. You know, as we go through and begin to read Acts, we know how many people there were that were there on the day of Pentecost. We know that the church was being added to daily. We know that it was growing. We know that there were several thousand. So somebody was there that thought it was important enough to take count, to consider. We know how many Jesus fed, whenever he fed from how many loaves. One of my favorite examples is Old Testament, whenever I begin to think about Gideon and the amazing battle that he won with so few people. But he knew exactly what his numbers were. And the astonishing thing for me is if we hadn't known what Gideon's numbers were, if he hadn't known what his numbers were, chances are good we wouldn't be sharing the story today. We wouldn't be talking about it. And so numbers aren't something for a church to be afraid of. They're not something that should be feared as displacing God's miraculous work. But oftentimes they help us understand the story with more clarity as to just what God's miraculous work is. We find the same thing to be true here at Life.Church. And so we embrace that awareness organizationally in the numbers. The commitment that we have is that those numbers deserve a place at the table of the decision-making process. It's important that they be accurate and they be timely. Oftentimes in the church world, we find that it's easy for us to suffer on one or both of those fronts. Sometimes we can have accurate information, but it's no longer timely. It might have been from a time in the past, and it doesn't really reflect where we are today. No worse case situation can exist than not having accurate information. So you're better off with no information than information that's not accurate. So accurate and timely information, we believe, deserves a seat at the table of the decision-making process.